this thing on? It's been quite a bit. I've been definitely slacking a lot. I also need to replace my playmat, so let's do something different here. Let's take it back to the Final Fantasy mat that I have. Good old Titus, however you pronounce them, it don't matter. Hello everybody, welcome to a new edition of Panic Uncracked. I'm your host, Chris Panic. I was thinking about doing some borders to let me know how much play space I have, but hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this live, unhinged, unscripted, and just, I don't know, however, we're just going to do this. Like, there's no shenanigans, no After Effects, whatever. We are doing this live. And one of the things I thought would be funny is doing this with doing an opening with my Final Fantasy mat for, you know, a new set that come out. I wanted to show off some of my highlights from pre-release from the new Spiderman set. I do have a couple of fun ones, such as this team up with the Human Torch that I pulled, as well as, you know, the Saga of the Wedding of Spider-Man. Oh, and I also have this one too. Holy crap, I don't know how rare this card is, but whoo-wee. Have you seen anything like this? If you're a 90s kid, you know exactly what I mean. Just stoked. All right, jokes aside, we need to put it aside. Let's move on. As you know, I am not a professional. I'm just a guy who likes to open Magic cards and do it on video for fun. And I'm gonna do something a little different today. I'm gonna do the first box I've ever done of play boosters. And then what I mean by play boosters is, like, I have done set boosters from Modern Horizons 2 before. I may have done some other ones, I can't remember, but this is the first time I think I've done a 30-pack play booster box. And if anybody seems to have forgotten, we used to have 36 packs in a draft booster, then play booster, and now we're down to 30. Also, I'm going to call this the budget Magic unboxing video, which I'll probably name it like that. I did not really feel like paying $600 for a collector booster of this set, so I decided I'm just going to open up the play booster box I have and have fun with it. So without further ado, and with me being careful because my camera is still broken, I'm going to open this up, put this plastic somewhere on my floor. You did not see me litter in my own house, don't worry about it. And we're going to do some budget Magic unboxing here. There isn't going to be anything super flashy or substantial out of this Spider-Man box. I'm not expecting the world. I might do this with a Final Fantasy play booster. I still have one of those, right? Yeah, I got one. Woo! Although I would like to kind of keep that one just in case anybody wanted to draft or have fun. So, funny thing about this Spider-Man set is I actually, on this channel, wanted to kind of unbox some of the good old, you know, Marvel, where the heck did I even put them? Like, I totally lost them. I think. The Marvel Universe cards, which, like, I seem to have just lost the ones that I just used for stupid gags here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, sets like this. I wanted to do some of those unboxings, but over time, those have gotten a little bit expensive, and it just doesn't seem to be totally worth it to me, so I've held off. So in the meantime, we're just going to open up one of these Spider-Man ones. Interesting enough, the play booster box, I haven't opened one of these in a while, but this is some thick cardboard. I remember when these little inserts used to be just a single thin piece of plastic just with some little details. Occasionally you have your box topper. But hey, we got rid of 6 packs, so I guess we get a better quality cardboard here to go over everything. All right, so if anybody has not, this is being filmed during pre-release weekend, and I have actually done the pre-release myself. Actually, I should just leave them in here for the fun. Pretend we're in the store scenario, you know. Let's get a little price sticker on here. But this is pre-release weekend for the Spider-Man set. I did a pre-release event on Friday. It was fun. I can't remember how much I paid. I probably should remark, but I am not. But yeah, like, it was all right. Like, the set was okay. And some interesting mechanics, some weirdness, but definitely a lot of interesting nostalgia as a comic fan. So for the true believers out here, Spider-Man is definitely a big deal in American culture and for a lot of people. For me, I started reading comics starting around Maximum Carnage, but a little bit before then. But that's when I started really spending my allowance, getting into Spider-Man. And my God, like, if I can find it, I'm going to definitely do another one of these videos that shows off some of my other cards that I have. But I have quite a massive collection of Spider-Man cards and, you know, a few comics here and there. I love this channel because it's just, you know, old guy rambles at camera to almost no viewers, except for that one guy who comments on my videos. It's like, hey, I'm watching. I know who you are. I know where you live. That's not a threat. That's a friend of mine. So just to be real here. I probably should look into scripting and all that other stuff on my videos, but I don't. I just do what I do. I am just a guy, just like anybody else who might be watching these, anybody who loves cracking Magic cards and going from there. So what I was saying about Spider-Man is I was a huge fan of comics. I collected all the cards, you know, the Fleer Ultras, the Marvel Universes, and I had so many of these. I had the action figures from the Spider-Man cartoon, everything. You know, like I could go through here. It's not just like Final Fantasy, and interesting enough, it's quite a neat little curl there, but whatever. All right, so this robot token, if anybody did not know, this is a Spider Slayer. Or at least it could be. There's many different robots. Spider-Man's evolved so much since I used to read the comics, but and our food token, which is just a hot dog. I do like the tokens. We'll set them aside. Let's do the corner up here for tokens. But yeah, I'm just gonna ramble. I should have written a script here, but hey, if I wrote a script, I'd be lying if I told you I'm unscripted and unhinged. So, all right, basic island here, and starting off with the curled rare, we have Spider-Gwen, Free Spirit. I'll set that near the token, I guess. And then, interesting enough, we start off with Mr. Negative, featured villain from the Spider-Man game for PS4. Definitely a unique card. Swaps life totals. So we'll set that aside for one of the characters here, Spider-Girl. One of the weird things about this set, especially, you know, from a Magic perspective, is the amount of spider characters that you open. It's almost like kind of not really that. It's cool and all, like there's a Spider-Man for everybody, but it just feels really weird. It almost feels like the character is all the same. Goblinoids, I believe this was from the Ultimate series of Spider-Man. You know, when they turned the Green Goblin from, you know, crazy guy in mask with a glider to an actual monster. I'm not going to rag on the Ultimate series. Those were not for me. So if anybody did not know, you know, we had the original Spider-Mans going from the 60s through 70s and on. And then at some point, I don't remember when, this is around when I fell out of comic books. And there's going to be a card that I'm sure we're going to open that I'm going to ramble on. But they also did a kind of a reboot of the Marvel series with a different universe, the Ultimates, and it was a little bit different. I will say the Ultimate Spider-Man video game for PS2 was pretty fun. Regardless, I don't want to ramble about a card I don't care a whole lot about. Now we get into the Spider Slayer, the Hatred Honed. Alistair Smythe, you know, I guess you could say the creator of the Spider Slayers. But here is just a Spider Slayer card. You got a Spider Bot. The Eerie Gravestone, signifying the scene from Kraven's Last Stand, or Kraven's Last Hunt. You know, one of my favorite Spider-Man stories of all time. You know, Kraven finally succeeded in taking Spider-Man out, buried him alive. Spider-Man came back from the grave. You know, I'll say it, but like, you know, I believe in the series, Kraven eventually committed suicide, and that was it. Pretty deep storyline. The Oscorp research team, blah blah blah. Masked Meower, one of the spider memes. Web Up, your classic Oblivion Ring effect. The guy in the chair. If anybody had not seen Spider-Man Homecoming, you wouldn't get this, but yeah, I don't know if it was in the comics or not, but that's what I remember from. Spectacular Tactics, okay, cool. Usual combat trick, the subway train. I don't really know where to go with this set. Like, it's quite interesting. And I think it's definitely, I wouldn't say polarizing. I mean, like, I guess people even thought, like, even the Final Fantasy stuff was a little polarizing. But this set definitely has its degree of, like, alienating the base. I mean, somebody was mentioning some of the cards, like the food tokens. It's stuff you see in real life, you know? Nothing really super substantial. Treasure token, you know, hearkening from the D&D, you know, treasure chest gold. Like, it's just Doc Ock with a big pile of cash from the bank. You know, and behind here we have the human citizen, which just a person with coffee, you know what I mean? It's just somebody you'd see in everyday life. All right, let's keep going through here. Savage Mansion as the land, Masked Meower. Pop the land here. The foils, I'm going to keep some of the significant characters over here. Not saying Gwen is not significant. Gwen is a significant part of Spider-Man's lore. But what I want to do is I kind of want to isolate some of the cards a little bit more. All right, cool. So let's get into Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery. Here we have Sandman, Shifting Scoundrel, featured in Spider-Man 3, the movie, but also, you know, one of the classic characters in the comics. The creature himself, 3 is the CMC, 2 green. Your basic like power and toughness equal to lands. Yeah, interesting. Set aside. It's kind of cool to see the card. You know, and at least it's a rare. You know, the set's so weird with the way the characters are, and I'll get to some of them, but all right, let's keep going. I'm just rambling here. This set does feel weird to me. Superior Foes of Spider-Man, Spider, Penny Parker. You know, we got ourselves another one of the characters from the Spider Lore. This is just a group, so it's not I care about. Harry Osborn, the second Green Goblin, definitely a good card. This was in my pre-release pool, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I really like the mayhem mechanic. It's pretty fun. Somebody called it fixed madness, and I guess you could say that's true here. It is, you know, madness just a little bit better. You know, and it was cool. Here we go. Going into the theme of stuff we see, non-fantasy stuff we see in day-to-day life. Here you have the Bagel and Schmear. Joy. Combat Trick, Meower, the Enforcers, the Beetle. We have ourselves another one of, you know, Spider-Man's Rogue Galleries here. The Wild Pack from Silver Sable. The classic, you know, what if Spider-Man grew extra arms. Definitely this was a theme in the comics quite a bit. Good old Robbie Robertson and Betty Brant, the Daily Bugle reporters. Non-legendary creature, but you can only have so many legendary creatures in this set before it starts getting a little whack. I can't quite tell if I would have enjoyed opening a Marvel Universe box, say Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, old school retro, or this Magic set. But hey, it is what it is. I got a box of this. I'm enjoying it. Treasure Token, Suburban Sanctuary. This is funny. Yeah, I guess I can't complain, but the land is just like a house in like New York, out in Queens. All right, this is what I was saying about the interesting cards like Doc Ock, Sinister Scientist. I think it's kind of interesting that he was only one color. He's only blue, but this is also a common, you know, like my pre-release pool had 3 of these. I didn't run blue in my deck, but it just felt really weird, you know, a common legendary creature that you can't put that many in your deck for. All right, cool. Let's talk about this card here. Electro, Assaulting Battery. Electro had, you know, one of my favorites. I don't pick favorites, but the Light the Night series with Electro. I think it was from the Spider-Man, like single title, not Amazing Spider-Man, not Spectacular Spider-Man, not Web of Spider-Man, but just Spider-Man. Started by Todd McFarlane, I believe. Like, I think he did the first few issues of that. But there was a 3-issue series with Electro, and it was just kind of like him down on his dumps, up on a roof, just lighting up the night. And, you know, of course, Battle with Spider-Man went through some of Electro's past and his traumas and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that story. Now, let's get into this card. I think it's fair to say that Electro is probably one of the strongest of Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery to actually get a card in this set. He flies. You don't lose unspent red mana. So you're just... And whenever you cast an instant sorcery, you just add red. So, yeah, this is quite an interesting card. I think this is one of the top cards in the set as far as value and probably demand. And I don't blame it, especially when he tied us with Vivi from Final Fantasy. But this is definitely one hell of a Storm Commander card. Like, if you get this in your deck, I don't know if this is going to make any waves in Modern or any other formats, but it's still a really cool card. We'll set him aside for now. I just want to keep the main characters, kind of like shown and present here. And I'm going to run out of space because there's 30 cards in there. Collector booster box would have been fun, but once again, if the price goes down, we'll open one here. Or if there's enough demand from my one viewer, that one person, I know who you are. Yeah. Sun Spider, just another one of the random spider characters, you know, like, we'll do that here. Spidermobile. I remember this one specifically from my dad. There was an old comic, and I believe it was a Spider-Man book. Had Hammerhead and the Spidermobile. But yeah, Spider-Man had a car. I mean, Thanos had a helicopter, for crying out loud. So whatever. All right. Interesting enough, the Rhino, the Barreling Brute, just an uncommon, very expensive. This was probably the all-star in my pre-release pool. This card was the game changer, the game winner, pretty much. Vigilance, Trample, Haste, 6/7, and he draws you a card. The value in this is absolute insanity. Yeah, it's 7 mana, but in green and red, you're going to get there. We'll set him with Doc Ock, and I'll eventually kind of get the Sinister Six together in some kind of capacity here. Spider-Man No More, classic, from the series, classic story arc in Spider-Man. I got to do more of these videos. I'm getting so rusty, everybody. Swarm, just, your standard B-lister, from the Spider-Man series. Also probably one of the best Mayhem cards, I believe. 1 black to get a 2-flash flying 2/2. It's pretty dang good. We'll set him with Beetle. I'll probably do another one of these. I really want to show off my Fleer Ultras cards, but yeah, maybe another time. Doc Ock's Henchman, blah, blah, blah. Taxi Driver. Definitely cool card. The Wild Pack, the Kapow with Mysterio in here. Actually, this one, the Shattering Mysterio's, little fishbowl dome. Here we go with the Daily Bugle reporters again. And, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, the Brooklyn Visionary, also in my pool. Web swinging is definitely a unique mechanic here. Like you tackle a creature, you tap it with whatever, and then you can basically get, instead of 5 mana for a 4/3 that lets you, search for land, 3 mana for a 4/3 that lets you search for land. Definitely quite interesting here. All right, so that'll be the pile for the Spider variants, and let's start sorting out my rogues gallery of villains here. I'll keep Electro here. We'll do the spiders and the spider variants, C-listers or whatever. The A-listers will pop up here. I don't know. I don't think it really matters a whole ton. I do wish I prepared for this video, because I still wish I busted out some of that Fleer Ultra fun cards aside from the one I just showed. There's a lot of cards to open. I haven't done anything outside of collector booster box in a while, so hoping I don't get past that threshold of attention spans that everybody has very low amounts of. Tokens, land, sweet. I mean, cool card, harkens to, obviously, Spider, I fell out of comics around when Miles Morales came out, but this also reminds me of the Spider-Man video game, the most recent one that, has Venom in it. But yeah, terrific team up. In here, I really wanted to talk about this one, the Clone Saga. Very, very infamous moment in Spider-Man comic history. So it started originally where the Jackal, the character hero, which I don't know if he actually got it. I think he did get a card in the set. The Jackal had a series, where he created a clone of Spider-Man. Spider-Man fought his clone. I can't remember when it actually happened. It was the 70s, 80s. But, that happened. It went through, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point, late 90s, they brought the clone back. So, and then, of course, we had, Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, coming out. Well, before he was the Scarlet Spider, he was Spider-Man. We had Spider-Man's clone. And then it snowballed with the amount of Spider-Man clones and everything. And things just got so out of control. And eventually, Ben Reilly turned out to be the real Spider-Man. Peter Parker was the fake. All this other stuff. The series, oh my God. If you were a comic reader, then you know what I'm talking about. This was almost like the, dare I say, kryptonite of the Spider-Man comics, but it almost felt like they just wrote themselves into a corner and they couldn't back themselves out. And eventually, the Spider-Man everybody knew and loved, Peter Parker, was not really the Spider-Man. And then he retired, I'm going to misquote. So, correct me if need be, but, Peter Parker retired, was about to have a kid with Mary Jane, everything was good. But it turns out, I don't know what the term is for it, but they kind of tried to settle everything and cauterize everything once and for all. Like just put it all to bed. Turns out that Norman Osborn was alive the whole time. Norman Osborn caused Spider-Man's kid to die. You know, I think forced a miscarriage for Mary Jane, and then Spider-Man killed Norman Osborn. You know, and then of course Ben Reilly was the clone all along because he dissolved like the clones did when they died or whatever. And that was that. And it was just a giant WTF. But yeah, let's put this as card aside. The Clone Saga. I don't even know if that card's even that playable. Blue, Surveil 3, copy spell. Whenever a creature is cast, blah blah blah, draw a card. Okay, yeah, whatever. Damage control. I don't know if I still have the comic, but this damage control showed up in Spider-Man Homecoming. Michael Keaton's character, Adrian Toomes the Vulture, was part of that. I think they did show up in the MCU outside of that, but yeah, it was just like an interesting comic series of the group that, you know, like, yeah, the superheroes do their battles in New York, but somebody pays the wrath of everything. And yeah, that happened. Speaking of wrath, we have Wraith here, which is not the same thing. This is a character I'm not that familiar with. I'll put it aside and, you know, that area there. That's fine. But yeah. Okay, cool. Kraven, obviously another one of the classics from Spider-Man lore and history. I'll set him here, so we almost have a degree of our Sinister Six getting built up. Electro is part of it as well. I kind of wanted to keep the Electro card sitting aside because we know this is one of the chase cards in the set. The Sinister Six had quite a lineup change over the years. Spider-Bot, yet again another Beetle. Look at that duplicate there. We got ourselves Taxi Driver, Venom's Hunger, Cool Load Art, Whoosh, the Mob Lookout. Basically, this is the card that represents Hammerhead, who you can see right there, and then the flavor text. Selfless Police Captain, George Stacy, Gwen Stacy's dad, also famous being played by Dennis Leary in the movie, he looks kind of like Dennis Leary, does he not? Scout the City. Okay, cool. Let's keep moving. There's a lot of packs I got to open. I am not making good progress here. This may or may not be my last play booster box ever. Also wish I could have, scripted my talking a little bit more. So somebody let me know if I'm crazy, but it feels like these packs are a lot harder to open than packs of the past. Like, I definitely had this issue pre-release. I don't know what's going on here, but maybe they're trying to protect so people can't x-ray what's inside here. Hey, we got a foil swamp. That's cool. John Jonah Jameson, son of James Jonah Jameson, who eventually became the Man-Wolf. You can't have almost every card being a legendary in here, so of course he just becomes your classic draw card and when it enters the battlefield. We have Silk, another one of the Spider-Man variants, another one that I'm not super familiar with, but not that they don't matter. Spider-Bite, yet again another one of the Spider variants. The Shocker, yet another of Spider-Man's infamous Rogue Gallery. We'll set him over here. Alien Symbiosis, definitely a unique and cool card as well. You can cast it from your graveyard by discarding a card. And one black, one colorless. It's not bad. And it gives something menace. Spider-Man No More again. Angry Rabble. Risky Research. I haven't seen this card, and it's a common too. Your classic Read the Bones type card. Sign in Blood, but represented by probably the accident they... I don't think this is the accident that gave him his powers, but whatever. Mysterio's Phantasm. This is kind of cool. Like, Mysterio's definitely one of my favorites. A lot of the villains in Spider-Man are my favorites. I'll ramble, and I'm just stop myself now. But, an illusion of Mysterio in when it attacks mill card. I do want to see the Mysterio card. I'd love to get that out of this pool. Subway Train, Spectacular Tactics, not Bonesaw, and Web Up. I don't think you could have Bonesaw. Like, it probably, I don't know. I'm not going to ramble about that. Would have been nice to have some kind of, throwback to the movie. And Macho Man. All right, what do we got here? Robot Token, Land, Strength of Will. Another of the classic arcs featured in Spider-Man Homecoming, but also has been in the comics. The moment, just the the unbreakable will of Spider-Man. Like when he persevered and, you know, lifted the thing above his head. Spider-Man 2099, you know, definitely fun part of the comics in the 90s. I mean, you had Spider-Man 2099, you had X-Men 2099, you had Doom 2099, Punisher 2099. That was a whole fun little thing. Peter Parker's camera, you know, okay, real world thing that's in a Magic set. Can't say much though. We had a phone in Duskmorn, you know, and I love Duskmorn. I think you all know that. I'll start a little rare pile, but I'll sort these cards out later. Spider-Man Noir, soon to be played by, I think, Nicolas Cage. Superior Foes of Spider-Man, the Web Shooters, the Hot Dog Cart, the Rabble, the Common Crook, which doesn't represent the guy who killed Uncle Ben, but, you know, your classic, you know, villain that Spider-Man go after. There's another Phantasm. Skyward Spider, oh my god, this one annoyed me at pre-release. Like, I got wrecked by this. Guy in a chair. And your classic Spider-Man, you know, 3/3 for 3, but you can cast it for 1 with a web swinging ability, which web swinging is kind of a cool little ability. I wonder how it's going to pan out in standard or other Eternal formats. I don't know how standard is going to pan itself out though. Whew. I am not going to complain. I still love Magic. I'm definitely playing a lot more Commander. I still love Sealed. Have not played Standard in a long time. Modern haven't touched, but Standards, it's hard to keep up with everything, and I don't know, it feels like some of the broken cards just stick around too long. Hey, we got the Spider-Mobile again. Oh, all right, this is one of the hits that I really like to see here. The classic comic, the comic treatment for some of the cards. This one being, you know, one of the things I talked about, one of the arcs earlier. Kraven's Last Hunt. Very significant story arc in Spider-Man. I'm definitely going to put that into my specialty pile. Interdimensional Web Watch. Yeah, it's whatever. Pictures of Spider-Man. Another Penny Parker. Here we go. We got Tombstone, the career criminal. We'll put him over into that pile. Venom, the good old classic, you know, villain. In common as well. Doc Ock, yet again. I got a foil one, so I'm worried about it. Angry Rabble. We got Venomized Cat. The Pumpkin Bombardment. This was in my pre-release poll too. This card is so good. Feeds into Mayhem and its Lightning Bolt and Sorcery. Spider-Rex. Oh, and can't forget this. Scorpion Sting. Very efficient removal spell. I had 3 of those in my pre-release poll. It was pretty awesome. All right, let's keep going because this video is already getting long and there's still a lot of cards to open. Why is this? Okay, so we got the pull tabs for these now. I was not paying attention. I swear to God, I'm not a noob. I swear to God. All right, Treasure Token, University Campus, Foil, Mysterious Phantasm, Jesus, Criminy. All right, so we got one of the big hits. I think this is the only big hit in the set. We got the Soul Stone. I believe that is the In-Betweener that it's currently sitting in the hands of, unless it's somebody else that I'm missing, but this is, I think, one of the chase cards of the set. Holy smokes. Okay. I didn't know, like, you can get such cool things out of the play boosters, but hey, you know, I'm not going to complain. I got this. Also didn't really talk about any of my favorite comic artists or anything, but I don't think I've seen any of their cards yet. Oh, well. We got the Master Weaver, but also Erasta of the Endless Web. Yet another showcase card that I'm going to set aside. Supportive Parents. Sun Spider yet again, Living Brain, Mechanical Marvel. I don't even remember when this was in the comics. Oh well. Shock with the Shocker art, Unstable Experiment, Spider Manifestation, Starling, Aerial Ally, Scorpion Sting, and the Man Wolf yet again. The Man Wolf before he became the Man Wolf. Oh, my piles are getting pretty out of whack, so I'm just gonna stop worrying about it and just kind of power through the rest of these cards here. Because Spider-Man's huge. Like, there's obviously characters and such that I care about, and there's others that other people care about. You know, there's story arcs, whatever, that some don't do, and there's some. It's almost like there's something for everybody. But it's what happens when you have a character that's as timeless as Spider-Man. All right, Foil Wraith, Hide on the Ceiling. Interesting card. Daily Bugle Bidding. Interesting art. Alternate art. Spider-Man Noir. I will definitely put that aside. You know, just because I don't know if there's value in it, but you know, it's a unique card. I don't even know where the value is in the set. I'll find out later. I'm not going to do it in this video, though. Molten Man, the Inferno Incarnate. I remember this villain. I remember reading about his cards. But yeah, not much I can really speak of about him. We'll set him over in this pile here. Steel Wrecking Ball, the Gravestone, the Fairy. Yeah, I mean, you've seen the movies. The Romantic Rendezvous. Yeah, with the classic, you know, line there. Subway Train, the Reporters, the Pumpkin Bomb, the Tactics. All right, cool. Let's keep going. Still got quite a lot of cards to open. My God. I think I bit off more than I can chew with this one. I'm going to run out of steam. All right, Robot Token, Land, Wisecrack, All-Star in my pre-release poll. This is pretty fun removal spell. You know, you let them attack with their creature, and you just kind of web swing and pull them out. It's almost just like in the comics. Cheering Crowd. Interesting card. Wraith, Rhino's Rampage, the Spots Portal, one of the fun characters. There we go with Harry Osborn again. Spider Islanders, the Enforcers. You know, I think Tombstone's folks. I can't remember. I remember those guys though. Oh well, whatever. Whoosh, Citizen, Lookout, Craven's Cats, Squad. All right, it's too many cards to really kind of ramble and go on about. So let's see what other fun stuff we'll end up pulling here. Another one of those. We got ourselves a foil Craven. Craven's Last Hunt Saga. Non-special treatment. Definitely put that aside. Flash Thompson. I don't know if I even looked to see if there was a Flash Thompson card, but here we are. We do have one. You know, interesting. You know, it's whatever. You know, Flash Thompson, if you don't know who he is, I don't know. I'm not going to ramble about it. Damage Control, Spider Suit, Spider Bot, Spider Gwen, Venom's Hunger, Doc Ock yet again, Stegron, another one of them funny villains. You know, News Helicopter, Craven's Cat, Scout the City. All right, let's keep going here. All right, another pack down. We got the token. We got the Spider Rex, Spider Woman, Robotics Mastery. Is that Silvermane? Is that Silvermane? You know, the old guy, you know, kind of paid to get himself a new body or whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Wall Crawl. Oh, yes. This is going into the special pile. Hobgoblin, the Mantled Marauder. Hobgoblin was probably one of my favorite villains of Spider-Man. I did have a Hobgoblin collection of comics, like the OGs. I had a couple of his first appearance and a couple other of the series. I did get into Hobgoblin, aside from, like, he looked cool. He had the hood and everything and the cloak that the Green Goblin didn't have. But at some point, you know, like, they started advertising the series about, like, the Hobgoblin lives and who the Hobgoblin really is. As you can see, like, you know, trying to figure out, like, the quote here. All right, let's see who's behind the mask this time. Kingsley, is that you? If you didn't know, the Hobgoblin came out, like, he was created by, you know, a writer artist. I'm not going to pretend, I'm not going to try to act like I can speak to the lore totally perfectly, but, you know, he had him around. He was a mystery. He was very mysterious on who he really was. When they did do a reveal, like, you know, I can't remember, was it Ned Leeds? You know, of course, like, that's where the meme comes from for the Spider-Man movies, where Spider-Man's best friend, you know, and the MCU Spider-Man movies, you know, it's like, is he going to become the Hobgoblin? Don't know. But yeah, like, he was framed, there was a whole thing going on, and then eventually there was a series that came out that got me really even further into the Hobgoblin lore of who he really was. But yeah, I'm kind of stoked, and also I think it's kind of funny that an uncommon, I'm finally just seeing it here. But yeah, it's whatever. He's only a uncommon, you know, but I can't complain too much. I mean, crap, Venom was a common. Doc Ock is a common. All right, Spider-Man's Quicksand, or Sandman's Quicksand, Hot Dog Cart, Wrecking Ball, Risky Research, Fairy, Guy in a Chair, Police Captain, Scout the City. All right, cool. Let's keep moving down this list. Let's see what else we got here. All right, more cards, more cards. Oh, I do have a bundle too, so I have somewhere to put all these once I'm done with this video. Robot, Planes, Silver Sable Squad, and then we have Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, Cunning Thief. When she enters, look at the top 9 cards of an opponent's library, exile 2 face down, rest on the bottom. You can play the exile cards, and you know, you got your Gonti effect. Oh boy. What's this be said about Felicia Hardy? What can you not say? I'm not going to go into it too hard, but yeah, if you know, you know. Spider-Mobile, Spider-Man India. Here we go. We got another of the Rogues Gallery here. Ooh, I'm running out of space here. Cards I don't care about. Dude, why is that even falling like that? You don't know what's going on. I'm just going to ramble. I'm going to pop the Vulture over here. Uncommon yet again. But of course of Spider-Man's famous Rogue Gallery. Heroes Hangout, Bagel Smear, Research Team, Islanders, Manifestation, Thwip, City Landscape. Somebody pointed this out to me, but hey, we got ourselves another Terramorphic Expanse / Evolving Wilds effect. So you got 3 of these cards now you can run in Commander. That's great. All right, let's get to the next pack. Let's keep rushing through here. I'm definitely thinking I didn't need to make so many piles because some of these cards are like whatever. Electro's Bolt, really good removal with Mayhem. Hey, and look at that. We got Miles Morales, you know, one of the newer Spider-Mans. Definitely, there's not much I can say about Miles Morales because he definitely came out after I was reading Spider-Man comics, but he definitely had a huge impact, and I think it was I think people agree it was definitely good. Then we got Lizard, School Days, Warriors, Spider-Man Noir, Hot Dog, Gangsters, All-Star in my seal pool as well. Repeatable discard and buff, you know, that's pretty good. All right, Brooklyn Visionary. I don't think there's any point in really separating a lot of the cards anymore, aside from just rambling about the characters. All right, let's keep this going. I don't think I'm ever doing a play box again. There's too many cards. Island, Bugle Building, Urban Retreat. You know, one of the 2 unique lands in here in the set. I'll pop that aside. J. Jonah Jameson. This card, oh man, the oh, the flavor in it. He's a menace. You know, when it's entered the battlefield, you suspect a creature and give it menace. Pretty fun. All right, we'll set it aside. Classic characters: Spider-Man UK, Secret Identity, yet again the Rhino, Swarm, Beetle, Stegron, Venom yet again, Web Up, Wrestler, Bonesaw. All right, let's keep moving here. So I don't know where the value in the set is, or if there is much to really note, but there's definitely a lot of nostalgia for somebody like me who's just rambling on like an old guy who loved comic books. You know. Oh, look at this one. Behold the Sinister Six. Unique card. I tried to run this in my pre-release pool because I had almost the Sinister Six. Not all of them, but I had Kraven, I had Rhino. I didn't have like a whole lot of others. I had Venom, I had Green Goblin. But yeah, definitely neat card. 7 mana to get 6 different creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yes, please. We'll set it aside. Web Shooters, Superior Foes, the Prowler, Miles Morales' uncle, I believe. Excuse me, because I'm a little disconnected from the lore, even though I've played the video games and everything. Spider-Man No More, Venom, Whoosh, Islanders, Cat, Rex, Lizards, Police Captain. All right, let's keep going. You know, I don't even know what I'm looking for at this point. I'm just kind of opening cards. I hate the pull tabs. Robot, Scorpion Sting, yet another Strength of Will, Spider Bite, Silver Sable, the Mercenary Leader, the Hangout, Meower, Common Crook, Amazing Acrobatics, Rabble, Spider, Lizards. I think everybody's favorite card here for sealed, limited, whatever. 1/1 flyer for 1, and when it leaves, you get food. Pretty strong. Probably one of the strongest cards in the set, depending on who you talk to. Oh, I just noticed too. There's only 14 cards in here. 14. And any of you who might be watching probably already knew there was only 14 cards in the play boosters these days. All right, Robot, Campus, Cityscape, Agent Venom, aka Flash Thompson. He's one of those newer ones. I don't think the piles really matter a whole ton. Spots Portal, Sudden Strike. Ezekiel Sims, the Spider Totem. I don't really know this one too well. Mechanical Mobster. Oh, there's the Silvermane right there. Okay, so I got that last one wrong. I knew the character existed, but here he is in an actual card where he's just for 3, a 2/1 artifact robot villain. Amazing acrobatics. Shock. The Enforcers, grow extra arms. Hey, am I crazy? This is a common, and I'm like more than halfway through this box, and I've only seen 2 of these. That's really weird. Kapow, News Helicopter. That's interesting to me. Why so? I don't know, but it is. So it just is. All right, let's keep moving here. More packs. I'm just ready to be done at this point. I guess you could say I had more fun opening an Innistrad Remastered, right? I think a collector booster box of this would have been more fun, but I just cannot justify the $600 price. And then everybody else who does, they're going to get the views. But hey, you know what? You all can have fun, do what you're doing. Oh, I made a comment about this guy before, you know, when they turned the Green Goblin into an actual monster. I mean, it's 3 mana for 5/4. That makes you discard and gives you treasure. You can cast it for Mayhem as well for almost the same cost. It's like an alright card, but I don't know. Scarlet Spider Kane. I think this one's really interesting because if you read the Clone Saga like I did back in the day, Kane did not look this way. He was he had a really interesting look, long hair, you know, weird mask and everything, and he had, of course, the Mark of Cain ability where he kind of like finished people off. He killed Doc Ock, if anybody did not know. But yeah, they must have did something different with that character that I was not aware of. They turned him into the Scarlet Spider. I don't know. Spiders Man, the Costume Closet, the Mobster, Silvermane yet again, Mysterio. Can I please get a Mysterio card? Spider-Gwen, Research, Henchman, Bonesaw, Spider-Man, Kapow. All right, let's keep moving here. There's not that many packs left to go. I don't know. Part of me feels like I could do another one of these boxes, but I don't know if I can. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty with these videos, so it is what it is. Hey, foil Bonesaw. And behind there, we got the good old Death of Gwen Stacy saga. Yeah. Classic storyline, you know, happened. I'm not going to go into the details. Like, I remember it pretty well, but, you know, all the story and history about it. But the Green Goblin basically kind of, you know, forced a bad decision on Spider-Man's side. He couldn't save Gwen Stacy. She died. Big ordeal. Big ordeal. Scorpion, the Seething Striker. Right, cool. Like, we got ourselves yet another of the famous Rogues Gallery. Spider-Man India. Secret Identity. Just trying to read this card. Okay, whatever. This is Silvermane yet again. The Gravestone, Doc Ock, Shock, Spider-Man, Bolt, Bugle, Rex. Okay, cool. If I do another one of these videos, I'm definitely going to try to figure out a better way to do some of these. And yes, I did bend some of the cards as I'm open from this stupid pull tab. You know what? Like, I stopped caring. It's not like I don't think I'm selling many of these cards. Imposter Syndrome, Scorpion yet again, Silver Sable, Spiders Man, Doc Ock, Rendezvous, Venomized Cats, blah 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 blah. If you're watching this, let me know how enthused it sounds like I am as I go through these. You know, speaking of which, as I'm filming this, I might have a chance to actually go to one more pre-release event. TBD if I actually will. Land, Support of Parents, The Cheering Crowd, Robotics Mastery, yet another Hobgoblin, Aunt May, Uncommon. Surprised I'm finally just seeing this now. I was just thinking how fun it'd be if they did like the, you know, through the ages treatment, Aunt May, Mother of Runes. Spider-Bot, Meower, Demon Gangsters, Gwen, blah, 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 blah. I definitely am mixing up my piles a little bit here, but I think it's just a sign of probably some enthusiasm kind of just starting to wane. I probably had a lot more fun if I just did Marvel Universe boxes. Here I am trying to, like, you know, make YouTube videos and all this other stuff with Magic unboxing in here. I almost feel like I'm just being, like, very condescending a little bit on the set. Cosmic Spider-Man. Okay, this is definitely a neat little mythic kit here. Molten Man, the Web Warriors, another Green Goblin, Bagel Smear. No Mysterio yet. Okay, let's get to the next pack. Almost done here. 6 more packs after this one. Dude, like, what did I break? Okay, that card. Stegron, Shadow the Goblin, which is yep, when Harry Osborn became the Green Goblin. Hydra Man. Yeah, oh my god, it's so funny. Craven yet again. Morbius, you know, definitely unique card, definitely a unique card, especially if you were playing this as your commander, like exile from your graveyard and brainstorm all the time, but I don't know if it's worth it. Shock, Croak, Fairy, Lookout, Whip, Scout. Okay, let's keep going. I don't know how I keep doing this with these cards. Multiversal Passage. Nah. Spider-Girl, Madame Web, Shriek. I was really surprised they put Shriek in here. I don't think they did anybody else, like the Demo Goblin or the Doppelganger, Carrion, anything else from, you know, the Maximum Carnage series. I'd love to see a Carnage in here, but hey, look at that. We got Shriek, the Hot Dog Cart, Swarm, Fairy, blah, blah. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Next pack. I think I'm gonna retire. Okay, cool. Not terrible, but we got ourselves a foil. Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, speaking of the Clone Saga. It's Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly was a clone. What he returned, you know, ignited the whole Clone Saga. Of course, the Jackal came back. Craven the Hunter. Holy crap. Flying Octopus, Wisecrack, Team Up, Driver, blah, 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 Beetle. Oh, man. I mean, I've seen all these cards, so there's... Hey, we got another one of the pigeons. Give me Mysterio, give me Carnage, but I just want Mysterio. Mysterio's fun. Token, Campus, Parker Luck. Beginning of your end step, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We'll set aside. Mary Jane, whenever Spider enters, draw a card, only happens once. So, yeah, it's whatever. Shriek again. Venom, Spider-Gwen. Yeah. All right. Last few cards. Last few packs. Well, that said, like, I don't know. This does feel... I do feel like this is a very underwhelming set. We got ourselves a foil Eddie Brock out of here. Eddie Brock turns into... Oh, my God. On the last 3 packs, and I got one that's kind of... Like, I'm actually kind of stoked about. Turns into John Venom Lethal Protector, which was the name they gave Venom. Like, when he became a hero, it was one of the first comic series he had as solo. First issue, fought the Juggernaut. Interesting book. Menace Trample Haste. This might be a kind of a cool commander. We'll put him inside in the little pile. And here we go. I got Mysterio. I'd love it if Mysterio had a little bit more to him. You know, like more colors, whatnot. But I guess blue totally makes sense. When he enters, you get a 3/3 blue illusion. It would have been kind of cool if they did something like when he enters, you create like 3 copies of him. You know, and it's like one at random is the real one or something. I don't know. Prowler. Okay, Tombstone, Hunger, Taxi Driver. You know what? Mysterio's going in the pile. Prowler can go in here pile too. Did I put Tombstone in pile? Yeah, he's already there. The rest of these, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. Let's move on. Trying to play homage to some of the characters, you know, but I'm not going to put so many duplicates in there. I did do the duplicate Beatles before I knew any better. Duplicate Penny Parkers. Ugh. So it's definitely a weird set. Like, you can't say it's not. Like, there's a lot of hype. I wouldn't say hype, but rumblings and talk about the set itself and how it is. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it, really. Moreland, Scarlet Spider, yet again. Aunt May, Chameleon. Okay, cool. That's kind of neat. He enters as a copy of creature you control, except he keeps the same name, has a mayhem cost. There was another card, one of the special treatments of him. That was pretty neat. Gangsters, Acrobatics, Stegron, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is the one where we get the serialized card, right? Just kidding. Just kidding. Terrible joke. There are no serialized cards in play boosters. Once again, this is the poor man's Magic the Gathering unopening video. Panic Uncracked does things on a budget. Well, that's just because I extended a little bit too hard for Final Fantasy and just trying to take it easy a little bit. And I also skipped a couple sets. I do have some Edge of Eternities I could open, but I just didn't do it. Last pack. Hideout, foil, extra arms. Hat is fitting. To close it out, we do have the Jackal. Probably the first thing I rambled about was the Clone Saga in this video, and fitting enough, we got some of the Clone Saga characters, the Saga, and we end off with the Jackal as our final legendary rare. We'll pop him here. That son of a bitch ruined Spider-Man comics for everybody. Just kidding, he did not. Prison Break. You know, this one, I do like this card. I was talking with somebody pre-release, but you know, this effect alone, like, you know, reanimate, unburial rights, but with Mayhem for 4, you know, and you get a 1/1 counter on it, it's pretty dang good card. Here we go. The Swarm again, the Rendezvous, Lizards, Web Up, Helicopter, Extra Arms. Boom. All right. Well, that was Panic opening Spider-Man. It was okay. Like, I'm not gonna say much. I mean, some of the mechanics are cool. Like, it's kind of weird having so many Spider-Man and Spider-Man cards. Also, seeing some of the villains. I guess it's what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, Doc Ock feels like the kind of character that should probably be like more than one color and not common. There's just such a huge rogues gallery to go over with Spider-Man, and not even just rogues gallery, but also the heroes themselves. You know, and stories. It almost feels like the set could have benefited from the old block structure where, you know, you had three sets in a block, you know, but I don't know. I'm not one of the decision makers at Wizards, so I'm not gonna act like I know anything. Well, I had fun. I hope you did if you watched. Did get at least 2 hits that I'm stoked about. I mean, Mysterio's cool, but I'm not gonna build a commander deck out of him. I don't even know if there's any. Maybe Eddie Brock I'll build a commander deck out of, but that might be about it. I can't think of anybody else who's going to really be, you know, substantial, you know. Although I'm going to have to get one of them scene boxes. I'm going to go to Target in a little bit. I don't know if I can say that or not, but I just did, so whatever. All right. Soulstone, Arasta, Electro, foil Eddie Brock. Let's go. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching, and until next time, see you later.